on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. What's up, gentlemen?
Another day.
Hell no, it ain't. Damn it, I won yesterday at fantasy football. It's a damn good morning.
Or if you're McDaniel, it's another day closer to death. So that makes it a great day.
Yeah.
That dude has been on one in his sound bites all season. You have to think he's getting fired. But Jay, I know you wanted to talk about fantasy. So what do we got? What do we got on tap this morning?
Yeah, I got so many options that I'm confused, man. Like I don't know which way to go. All right, so I'm gonna give my running backs. All right, I got Dobbins against I think he goes. Is it Chicago? It's Denver. Who's Denver playing? Cincinnati. Fuck, I can't tell this damn thing. Well, anyway, it's lit up in green, so I can't tell the damn. My eyes ain't seeing it. I think it's CI, so it's got to be Cincinnati. But anyway, so I got Dobbins for Denver. I got Walker, with Charbonnet is injured right now, so I got Walker against Arizona, and then I have Benson, which Connor went down with season injuries against Seattle, and then I got Genty against Chicago, and then I got Pollard against Houston, and Scatterbo against LA Chargers. I guess this is LA.
Why do you have like 500? I was going to say, why do you have so many running backs?
Because I haven't traded any of them yet, and I've been asking for trades. No, I handcuffed a couple, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's what happened.
Well, no, like it doesn't make like. How do you even have room on the roster for that?
I do because So here's my other side of it. So on the wide receivers, I have Johnston from the Chargers.
Okay,
I got Johnston from the Chargers. I got Nico Collins, and then I have Pittman also as well, and Metcalf, Pittman and Metcalf. So between that, I have to fill out a flex, 2 wide receivers, and 2 running backs.
Well, one of your running backs is J.K. Dobbins because he plays the Bengals, and the Bengals defense is Swiss cheese. So that should be the first running back you're taking.
That's cute. You think there's some spots that aren't holes?
There is. You are correct because there is one spot that's not a hole, and that's Trey Hendrickson. He's the entire piece of cheese, and then the rest of the defense is all the holes in between them.
All right, focus that guy. So I got Dobbins then, and that was our leading him. So I got him at one of the running back spots.
Yep.
Now I got to figure out what do I do about the other running back spot, and then the 2 wide receivers in flex.
So go through that list again because I wasn't prepared for 500 running backs.
Yeah, go start with the running backs first. Start with the running backs first.
Like I didn't realize you literally drafted every running back in the league.
I didn't either until I started realizing. So I got Dobbins, which we already talked about. I got Walker. I got Benson from the Cardinals, and then I got Genty, Pollard, and Scatterbo.
So,
honestly,
well, Genty is definitely not it.
No,
they haven't figured out how to use him yet. So
Benson and Walker, they're playing each other, but both of those teams have been pretty good against the run this year.
Well, and of those 2, I would go with Walker, just because just about everybody's going to be healthy for the Seahawks on the defense.
Yeah.
And the defense is definitely no joke when it comes to Seattle this year. So
Scatterbo plays the Chargers. Stay away from that one.
Yep.
It would be between Pollard or Walker because Pollard gets the Texans.
So all right, so I got Dobbins and Walker already plugged in, so I'm going to stay with that since we're kind of a consistent there. So now it's really just 2 wide receivers and a flex, and here's the options for that: Nico Collins against Tennessee, and then Johnston against New York, and
New York.
Let's see, and then I got Pittman against LA. I'm assuming it's the Rams, so it's in red. And then Metcalf against Minnesota.
I go Nico Collins.
That's what I have plugged in. Okay.
And I would keep Johnson against the Giants because the Giants secondary is not good.
Okay. And then now we've got to figure out the flex.
Especially when you look at those other options because those other ones are going to be a little bit tough sledding.
Like DK Metcalf will get DK Metcalf will get his catches against Minnesota, but he just might not get into the end zone because Minnesota's got that bend but not break defense where they don't care if you go 30-30.
Well, the thing is that's their main target. So you guys are going to bracket him anyway. He may not actually even hardly get a catch.
Yeah,
all right, so I got Collins and Johnston then as the wide receivers. All I got to do now is figure out the flex. On the flex, which way should I roll with the flex? Obviously, we said Benson. We're not doing the
Pollard in. Just put Pollard. Just put Pollard
there. Over Pittman. Do you think Pittman going against the Rams? I guess. Yeah,
I wouldn't do that.
Okay. All right then. That solidifies the roster. I appreciate your help. I mean, most of that I was kind of on board with. It was just that flex position I was kind of struggling with.
So, how big is your bench? Like, how do you have?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that right now. Okay, so my bench, I don't have another defense or tight end. I'll figure that when I get to that point on the bye week. But let me pull my bench. Okay, so on my bench, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots available on the bench.
And they're all running backs.
No. 2 of them are wide receivers, 3 of them are running backs, and 1 of them is a quarterback. Huh? You can't make it up. I mean, that's literally it. And what's weird is I didn't mean to have this many running backs. It's just that was just the best available when I was drafting at the time. And so I went with them. And actually, I'm kind of glad I did because all of them are starting now. So that gives me flexibility to trade, which is what I'm looking to do. I'm not going to keep all that. So I'm eventually going to trade 1 or 2 of them for a really good tight end, which is what I really need because right now I got Fannin and Joke is kind of eating into that. So I still need to get another tight end.
He's not wrong though.
No.
I know. Joe, you're not helping our cause out this morning. I'm trying to have a good morning, man.
Especially because Diggs looked like he just gave up.
Yeah.
Like
it did, right? Like he looked more defeated.
Halfway through that game, it looked like he wasn't even trying anymore. So,
and that's pretty much the Cowboys season. I think it's going to be a lot of mediocrity. But I mean, we all expected. It's not like this is something that we weren't out. At least it was not something else. This is not something I wasn't prepared. I was already preparing that this was going to be a crap year.
Yeah, well, so there's a difference though. Like we were expecting it to be a bad year. We didn't expect in week 3 to have players giving up.
Yeah.
Like if it was week 15, you guys are way out of it, starting to see players kind of, taking plays off and whatever. It's not a great look on tape, but you see it happen, right?
But I wonder why is it happening?
Well, it's the fact that it's happening this early. Like I've never been a fan of it happening anyway, right? Because at the end of the day, even if your team sucks, you need to have good tape because you may be auditioning for the next team, right?
Exactly.
So I never liked a lack of effort because that shows up on tape. But when you're seeing a lack of effort and it's only week 3, that's a major concern because if you are a fan of that team, wow, like it can only get worse, right? Like if you're week 3 and you're not having buy-in, by week 8, I mean, this thing could be just an absolute dumpster fire because now you're going to start having a cancer in the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering what's got it going this direction in week 3. I wonder if it's leadership or if it's just players not caring.
Well, because this is Diggs, I'm going to go with players not caring because it's not like his brother is a hallmark of being involved either.
Well, and that's exactly right. I mean, no, seriously. I mean, they come from the same dang womb, so they got the same genetics. Damn it! So and that's kind of what I'm thinking is that it's just that's just the way that group of family members are. They don't care. They just go out there for themselves.
It's not that they don't care. I'm not going to say that. I just don't think that family knows how to deal with adversity. Because you look at Stephon Diggs in the early part of his career with the Vikings went to the NFC title game. The Vikings are winning the division. Like Diggs came into a situation where they had instant success. The moment Minnesota struggles for 1 year, Diggs turned into a head case because he didn't know how to handle like adversity. Then he demanded out, went to Buffalo. He didn't make it in the playoffs with Buffalo, wanted out, went to Houston, got hurt. Now he's in Dallas. You got the same thing with Trevon Diggs. Like
The thing that's funny with that though is it's not like the Bills were ever bad.
They couldn't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. That was the thing.
He was actually more butthurt there because he wasn't getting the catches he wanted.
Yeah.
So he is a me guy, not a we guy.
But like with his brother Trayvon though, like he comes to Dallas. Yes, Dallas isn't a Super Bowl contender, but when he first got there, his first couple of years, like Dallas was still getting to the playoffs. Like they were still having enough success to get there. But all of a sudden, the last couple of years, Dallas has struggled. So Trayvon's like, no, I don't want to deal with the adversity. I just don't want to be here. Like, there's no reason for me to even try.
And I could buy into that because I see that. Just the way they are, the way their mindsets are, right? Kind of like what Bo was saying, or even you're saying, the minute things don't go the way they want them to go, they get better. Or if they don't, like you said, if they don't get the ball enough, it's all about it's all about them.
That's the biggest thing with Stephon. Is he whether it's a win or a loss, he wants his stats. Like so.
Right.
I mean, he picked the wrong sport, right? I mean, if you don't want to be a team player,
go play basketball.
Yeah, right. Like football ain't it.
Yeah,
it is the ultimate team sport because even if your side of the ball balls out, you still have 11 other dudes on the opposite side of the ball that have to also ball out if you want to win. Like it's not like you can in basketball where you can have one dominant player carry a team, or if you're a dominant pitcher in baseball, you don't need a ton of run support, or so there's a lot of sports that you can get a lot of individual accolades.
Hell, they should just go play tennis or golf or auto racing. Then it's all about you and you.
Yeah, auto racing, that's a little.
I mean, you can say pit crew and auto racer, but you know what I'm saying though. It's still you in the car.
Yeah, well, there's a lot. That is a lot of your engineering team and mechanics, and you got to go drive that car, but they got to give you something you can win with.
Yeah, like the thing with Stephon Diggs, like I appreciate everything he did for Minnesota because like his best years for the most part came when he was with the Vikings. But I was also happy as hell when he left because that trade is what gave Minnesota Justin Jefferson. Because Minnesota traded him to Buffalo for Buffalo's first-round pick, and that's the pick we used for Justin Jefferson. So I'll take him over Stephon Diggs any day.
I'll tell you right now, Chad, do not go get Tua. You better go. If Geno's
better be sticking with Geno Smith.
Geno.
Yeah,
putting up numbers.
With the options you're talking about there, Tua ain't it.
Yeah.
Since we were talking about teams that have given up, the Dolphins sure look like it.
Hey, real quick, I don't. Was there a report? Because it seems like I was reading somewhere there was a report where ownership was basically kind of giving Tua not Tua. They were giving McDaniels, hey, either fix this thing or you're out of here. Kind of like putting him on the hot seat.
I mean, there's a reason his sound bites are as bad as they are.
Right.
I don't think it's actually because he's living the life in South Beach. I think it has more to do with that team is a disaster.
He knows
who's the GM in Miami. What's his name? Do you know what his name is by chance?
Not offhand, I don't.
No, he'll Mike McDaniels will be fired in 2 weeks.
Because I'm pretty sure he's on the hot seat.
Oh, he's him and Dable are the two. It'll be a race to who gets fired first.
So here's the thing: Chris Greer of the Dolphins is the GM, and he's been that GM since 2016.
Yeah,
the fact that he is still there is kind of
wild,
baffling.
Yeah.
So if anything, I could see him possibly getting fired before McDaniel, just because like everything he's done to put that team together. Like you had your opportunity a couple of years ago when you drafted Jalen Waddle. And you had a healthy Tua. The year they made it to the playoffs with Waddle and Hill, everyone being healthy. You got to the playoffs that year. You just ended up having to go to Kansas City when it was -40 and lost that game. But, like, that was the only good year they've really had since Chris Grier's taken over as the GM. Like, at some point, you got to be like, dude, the stuff you're doing ain't working. Like, we're going to move on from you. And I think McDaniels is in the final year of his contract next year anyways. Maybe the Dolphins just let him play out his contract and see if the new GM comes in and can fix it. Because, I mean, McDaniel's not the one that built this defense that has nothing to it. Like, he's not the one that put together the horrible offensive line. He's just there like, my defense sucks. My offensive line can't block. We're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's not how that works, though.
I know that, but like if I'm the Dolphins, like I fired probably Chris Grier right now. Like, I don't let Chris Dreyer finish the season. I might let Mike McDaniel finish the season just to see what happens. But if I'm the Dolphins, I fire the GM now just because it's just like you've been here for a decade now and you've really only had that one good season in that decade.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is there's no way McDaniel survives this, and mostly because now you have star players like, Hill that are like, get me up out of here. Just kidding. I want to be here. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to be here anymore. Like, obviously the locker room isn't great. Even without being in it, just from the outside, right? You're just like, okay, like obviously this doesn't look awesome. Before we get barbecued in the chat for like, you don't know, you're not in the room. It's like, yeah, well, you know what? If I see a helicopter smashed into a tree, I know the pilot messed up. Okay, so I don't necessarily have to be in the room to see something is a problem with Miami.
And the only reason why I say that he'll be fired after week 5 is because the Dolphins' next 2 games are the Jets and the Panthers. If he cannot find a way to beat one of these 2 teams, he's gone. Yeah. If he goes 2-0, let's just say he goes 2-0 against the Panthers and the Jets. Now you're sitting at 2-3. Yes, you're still under 500, but 2-3, you're still not in that bad of a spot yet. Like, you're still right in the middle of like a wild card spot at 2-3. 1-4, you're pretty much like, okay, we can't lose anymore for a while. But if you're 0-5, you're pretty much cooked. That's why I think he's got 2 weeks left to see what he does against this, because week 6, you got the Chargers coming in.
Even at 1-4, you're pretty cooked.
You're pretty cooked, but at least at 1-4, like hindsight 50-50, you get on a 4-game winning streak at 1-4, you're all of a sudden 5. You're all of a sudden 5.
Hindsight 50-50.
No, because that happened.
Classes are huge.
No, because remember when Minnesota lost Kirk Cousins 2 years ago with the torn Achilles?
Yeah.
Minnesota was 2-4 when Kirk Cousins went down. But they ended up winning that game against the Packers to get the 3-4, and then they won the next 3 games with Josh Dobbs to get the 6-4. Like, they got off to a bad start that year, but then they got on one.
I'm not saying it's not possible.
Yeah, but that's why I'm like saying, like, even at 1-4, you're like, yes, you're in a bad spot, but if by chance they somehow got on a hot streak, you can change the course of your season versus 0-5. Even a hot streak, you're pretty much cooked and buried at that point. That's why, like, at week 6 when the Chargers come in, if you're 0-5 and the Chargers coming in, McDaniel ain't going to be there to see that game.
I mean, yeah, although I don't know who you would get as the interim head coach. Let's
see who's on their staff right now.
Yeah,
I thought they did have somebody with experience.
Yeah, but I mean, is that even better at that point? Probably not, right? So then it's like, okay, well, do you even mess with firing him? Because, like, what does that even do?
I think Darrell Bevell would get it. Because Darrell Bevell has actually...
Oh, yeah. I forgot Bevell's there.
Yeah, Derek Bevell has actually done some good things when he's filled in as an interim coach. He filled in with the Jags, and I think he was like 3-2 or 3-3.
Yeah, no, I forgot that Bevell was there.
So, that's why, like, I think Bevell takes over after week 5 if the Dolphins don't win at least one, if not both, of their next 2 games. I think Bevell would be the guy in week 6.
Yeah, no, I could see Bevell stepping in.
And to Bevell's credit too, he's been trying to get like a head coaching job for a long time.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah,
and he's never really been in a position to get it. Like, he had his what you call basically your interview process when he filled in at Jacksonville, but it was like a 4-week interview process where you couldn't really gauge how he was going to do. If he takes over in week 6, he's got a 10-11 game sample size to finish out the year where he may not get a job in Miami, but let's just say Miami goes 4-7 in 11 games with Darrell Bevell. At least that shows that Bevell kind of kept that locker room together. At least it showed that Bevell was able to get a lot more out of the group of players than McDaniel did, which some teams are going to look at next year and be like, hey, you did a little bit more than McDaniels did with the Dolphins. Why don't you come here and we'll give you your head coach opportunity here?
Yeah, I mean, his best shot was when he was leaving the Seahawks. Like, that was his best option. Yeah. But because they had just won a Super Bowl, and then he went on to be an OC for the Bears.
No, he went to college again for 2 years, and then
he went to another NFL team directly after the Seahawks. I just forget which one he went to. It
was before he went to Jacksonville. I know that because Jacksonville, he was there when Urban Meyer was there.
Yeah, no, and that's why I say I think he went to like the Bears or something. I don't remember offhand though.
Let me check. He was in Seattle for what, 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, I think
he went from Seattle to the Lions.
Oh, the Lions. Okay. Now I knew it was a North team. I just couldn't remember.
And he was the interim head coach for Detroit for 2 games. Went 1-1.
Yep.
Then he went to Jacksonville, was the interim head coach in Jacksonville for 4 games and went 2-2. So he's 3-3 in his 6 games that he's been actual head coach. So if you give him an 11-game sample size, if he keeps that 500 trend going, you're going 5-6, 6-5. Somebody will give him a shot, I think, if he gets a long enough interview basically this year.
Hell, I mean, just given McDaniel's success with Miami, I probably would give Bevel a shot and then see what he has. And if he has it, great, I'll keep it. If not, then I know I need to start doing a coaching search. But at least it gives you time before preseason next year to figure out who your long-term coach is, and also gives you a chance, like you said, to find out what you have in Bevel.
So I think you
don't have it in McDaniel.
Regardless of when McDaniel gets fired, I think Bevel will have some games under his belt this year as a coach with the Dolphins, just because there's no way I don't think McDaniels can make it through the season. But Bevel won't be back with the Dolphins next year because I have a feeling Chris Grier is going to be fired after the season's over. And if McDaniels is fired too, you're going to be bringing in a new GM. That new GM is going to want to have his own coach from outside the organization.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's
now Steve Ross did come out and say that he's going to continue to be a little bit more patient with Mike McDaniel. But I always feel like, I don't know how you guys feel about it. When the ownership tells me they're going to be a little bit more patient with me, that tells me that really they're saying, yeah, you're on the hot seat. You know, we're going to let you ride this a little bit longer. But like you said, Tag Guy, I don't think it's much longer. A couple of weeks, and I think he's done.
Like I said, the next 2 games, if Miami doesn't win all these next 2 games, you got to look pretty far down their schedule where you're going to see another winnable game for them.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be they'll be blowing it up, right? They'll be looking for people to take on Tua, and I think they end up tearing this thing down if they start firing people.
Yeah, I think the only player that might be safe is Waddle. So I don't think Hill will be around. I don't think Tua will be around. I think this whole thing. I don't think
Tyreek Hill wants to be around. I think Tyreek Hill fires him more for leaving Kansas City.
Yeah, I think everybody around. Yeah, I think everybody but Jalen Waddle would be kind of like that. Available to be had. Like Jalen Waddle, I think will be the one guy they keep just because he seems like he's the only player on that team that doesn't bring drama with him. He's just a very quiet player that just goes out and plays his football and then goes to practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Ravens messed a lot of people up last night.
Yeah, but I could definitely. I wonder if do you think at some point that Tyreek Hill, like, when is this contract up next year, or how much longer does he have left on that contract?
Next year it is.
Next year, next year.
Yeah, it's not this year. It's next year.
Yeah, this year, next year. Yeah, 2 years.
I just wonder if there's going to be a reunification with the Chiefs for Tyreek at some point.
I mean, they would have liked him for this year, since all their
people. What I mean?
But they're not going to go get what Miami would require them to give up, because at the end of the day, Tyreek is still kind of a head case of his own.
And if you look at the last 2 weeks for the Chiefs, though, it seems like the Chiefs have found a new deep ball receiver in Tyquan Thornton, because he's now had back-to-back games with at least a 45-yard reception, and that's ultimately what Tyreek Hill used to bring to that team. So now you got Tyquan Thornton, who they got from the Patriots. He's all of a sudden becoming that Chiefs deep ball threat. So maybe they got another one.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is I just don't think they want the ego of Hill. Because they find ways to reload anyway, so why take that on?
They have enough problems in that locker room right now just with the way they've been playing that they don't need the additional headache being added to it.
Exactly.
How old is Tyreek anyway? Is he 30?
31.
31?
Yeah.
Okay, so 30. So he'll play one more year in Miami. So he'll be 32, I'm assuming, late 32, whenever
he'll be turning 33 right when the 2027 season starts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that he necessarily stays in Miami after this season anyway.
No.
Like, they probably do look for trade partners, even if they don't get a lot for him, just to get him off the books.
Yeah.
So it might be one of those where they're like, you know what, we're not going to get great draft picks for him, but at least we're not going to be paying him either, right? Especially if you're going to be blowing this thing up, getting a new coach, getting a new GM. That's where you just embrace the rebuild. And
that's when you embrace the suck.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, right?
Right.
So
That's why I wonder if Kansas City would go grab him and pair him. But I don't know if they really want him because I guess Rashee Rice will be back at that point. Then they got Xavier Worthy, so that might be a log jam. But I could, if I was them, I mean, I want to get Tyreek on a cheap deal and then try to compete again for that one more chance at the title with the current. Because I think Kelsey, how much longer does Kelsey have with that team?
He's got one more
this year.
This year, yep.
Yeah, this year. It's so if I'm the Chiefs, I don't do it. Right?
Yeah.
And if you're Miami, you probably don't either. Right? I mean, unless KC wanted to give you a ton, but if somebody were giving you the same, what the hell is
Sorry about that. That's my fault.
If someone else was giving you the same offer as KC, you don't give it to KC.
Right.
Right? You give it to whoever else. One, because you in the same conference. Right. And two, you don't want to just give them that extra piece that they might be missing to go win another ring.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. So even if somebody was giving you even maybe a slight lesser deal, you'd just be like, yeah, KC can't have it. Because you do get to dictate that as the team.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
Hill in Pittsburgh, why not?
Bring more drama.
just bring all the crazy. In fact, if you could bring Pickens back, that would be great because he was having a meltdown on the side of the field on Sunday. So
yeah, he was
like slamming his helmet on the ground and freaking out. And you're like, oh, there we go. That's the guy we know about.
Did you see the one where the helmet hit him in the face?
Hit him in the face?
So like he slammed his helmet on the ground.
Okay.
Slammed it on the ground a second time, and then when he went back to the bench, he slammed it on the back of the bench, and the helmet ricocheted and got him in the chin. I'm like, well, I bet you that did you well.
Hey, you know what?
Oh, you talking about the one with Derrick Henry?
No, with Pickens.
No, Diggs.
Oh, it's Diggs. Not Derrick Henry did it too.
No, Pickens. Sorry.
Like the one way that Pickens dropped the ball and it turned into the interception. Like he took his helmet off as he was walking off the sideline, smashed it on the ground, smashed it on the ground again, and right before he sat down, he smashed it on the bench and it ricocheted up and got him in the chin. I'm like, I bet you that felt great, didn't it?
Yeah, the one with Henry, it didn't jump up and hit him in the face. He just tripped over the edge of the bench and fell on the bench.
That was what happened because he slammed it and then he was like falling sideways like he was drunk, and I'm like, what's wrong with this dude?
Yeah, no, it's because he hit the side of his knee on the bench and just like fell into the bench.
It was right up on an injury report. Well, see what happened was I slammed my helmet and then I tripped over a bench and I tore my ACL. So yeah, coach, it was a non-contact injury.
Dang, was it impressive? Like you go from just like nudging the bench to like tearing his knee out.
Hey, Coach, Derek's not available for the rest of the game. He's laying on the ground right now. We got paramedics attending to him. By the way, we need to get a new bench on order. He bent it.
Man.
Yeah. Well. And then the Astros play the Guardians tonight. I'm not the Guardians. Excuse me. They play the Angels tonight, and we're on the hot seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big time on the hot seat.
I will say this about the Lions, though. As bad as the Lions looked week one against the Packers, I think a lot of that had to do with the new offensive and defensive coordinators being put in Detroit and kind of learning how to call a game.
They looked good last night.
If you look at how they looked against the Bears, well, granted, the Bears aren't good, but if you looked at what they did against the Ravens last night, it's very clear that the system that Dan Campbell puts in place, no matter who he brings in for an offensive or defensive coordinator, is going to work. Yep. Because both the offensive coordinator now has called 2 straight outstanding games, and despite giving up 30 points last night, the Lions defense was very good last night.
No. The Lions looked great.
Yeah, like their new coordinators are first-time coordinators, and it looks like they've been doing this now for over a decade. Like the first game of the year, they look like first-time coordinators, but the last 2 weeks, it looks like they've been doing this for a decade.
Mm-hmm. I want to say that first game for them was probably just more preseason, like Pags would say. It's probably just working out through the preseason part of it because you haven't played your starters in a hot minute. Because Green Bay look a little, obviously with the Browns beating Green Bay, now, all of a sudden the Lions are looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, no, I mean,
But I don't want to overreact. I mean, it's only week 3, I guess we're in at this point.
Well, no, I mean, it's week 3. Like, that's significant at this point, right?
It's,
I mean, it's short.
You're 18% of the way through the season already.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I'll be bringing, my top 10 power ranking tomorrow. So, I never do them the first 2 weeks because you never really know what anybody is yet.
Right.
But going into week 4, you kind of have an idea of, all right, these teams are at least doing this and like injuries and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be bringing that for tomorrow's show. But I mean, the Lions are right up there. Like they look like they can really beat up on anybody.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering is now. Would you put Detroit then over Green Bay right now in the power rankings, or do you have them kind of more even at this point?
I would have them ahead of Green Bay.
You would have them ahead of Green Bay?
Yeah. I like what I'm seeing out of. I mean, not to say that Green Bay's bad. Like, I'm not. Obviously they're both going to be in the top 10, but I do like what I'm seeing out of the Lions more.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'd have the Lions. Like, I'm going to look more at it again tonight, but I would probably have them in that like third or fourth spot.
Because you look at the Packers' first 2 games. You played the Lions in week 1, where the Lions' offensive line could not have played any worse that game. Yep. And you were basically going up against first-time coordinators who really didn't know how to call a game. 4 days later, you're playing the Commanders at home on a Thursday night. So not only is it a short week for Washington, but Washington's offensive line is terrible. So yes, the Packers should have been able to get to Jayden Daniels, which they did. And now you have the Packers going to Cleveland, where Cleveland has a good defense. Like, their defense is good enough to at least keep the Browns in most games. And they made the Packers look very pedestrian on Sunday. Like, the Packers defense still played well, but Cleveland's offense isn't anything special. So you would think that Cleveland's going to struggle, but that Cleveland defense made the Packers offense struggle as well.
Yeah. And Joe, to answer your question here, they had that game circled the entire offseason. They were as up as they were going to be all season long for that game. Plus, you had a lot of time to prep for it, right? The whole offseason.
It was the Cowboys Super Bowl, similar to like when the Bears played the Packers. Like, the Bears circle the game against the Packers every single year, those 2 games, because that is the Bears Super Bowl. Like, if they can go out and play and win that game, it's like, oh, we finished 1-17. But we beat the Packers.
Exactly. So, and unfortunately, because they didn't, it really set in motion the fact that they're just not going to be good. And so, yeah. And then you have players that are starting to give up on the system. So, yeah, I can't imagine you're going to be super excited about where your team ends up. That was the nice way of saying your team is gonna suck.
It's gonna be a long year. Dig in, killer.
Like, I know you don't drink, but you might start. Like,
and now CeeDee Lamb's gonna be out on Sunday now, so I mean that just adds more fuel to the fire for the Packers to just tee off on Dallas on Sunday.
Yeah, Dallas is gonna get worked. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're definitely gonna get worse.
Micah Parsons is gonna eat that Dallas offensive line for lunch, and then the Packer offense is just gonna be like, "Oh, you gave up? Well, here you go. We'll just chuck it all around the yard for you."
Yep. Yeah. No, it's if you are a Dallas fan this coming weekend, that's where you're just like, my team's not playing, so I can.
My team is not playing. They're showing up, but they're not playing. They're showing up to watch. They're just not going to be there.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, no, it's unfortunate. I never like watching games that aren't competitive, but I have a feeling that this game kind of won't be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a Cowboys fan, I typically go to church on Sundays just to pray that I make it through watching the Cowboys game, honestly, without breaking my TV. I actually specifically pray for that. I asked the pastor, can you please pray for my TV that I don't throw it off the wall after watching the Cowboys game? And he usually
Why do you think Walmart has those Black Friday deals? It's for Cowboy fans. It's
literally.
Nobody else needs a TV every year except Cowboy fans.
Yeah. I don't think just if you rip a TV off the wall and smack it into the ground and you bought the extended warranty at Best Buy and you take this raggedy ass TV to Best Buy and said, I need a new TV, that they're just going to give you a new TV. They're going to like, no, you're a Cowboys fan. Just go ahead and walk out the door.
Yeah, just walk in with your hat on.
There's a reason why they have the Black Friday sales, because it's the day after Thanksgiving and they know every Cowboy fan in the country is going to be forced to watch the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, so they can watch the Cowboys get worked on Thanksgiving, then take a baseball bat to the TV. And then
that's what I'm saying. They know for a fact that they just broke their TVs literally the night before.
Yep.
My wife used to say, when we buy TV, she'd be like, so let me ask you a question. You got this extended warranty. What exactly does that cover? Does it cover being dropped or thrown?
Or smashed or
smashed?
Gino, if you are a Cowboys fan, you're going to the Church of Modelo to try and remember the game.
Man, it's so bad. We even have Cowboy support groups.
It's gonna get to the point where
we meet every Wednesday, Bo.
I believe they call that therapy. Is actually what that is.
Yeah.
So it's gonna get to the point on Black Friday. It's gonna get to the point on Black Friday where Walmart's gonna have the TV sales. They're gonna have one line for everybody else, and the other line is gonna be like Cowboy fans only to the left.
Everybody else is glad. Nobody, everyone that's not a Cowboys fan is glad they're not a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough life. It's a rough life to be a fan. It is. I mean, I say it's rough. I mean, look at Stat Guy over there, man. He ain't never won shit with Minnesota, but yet
I've never even seen my team playing the Super Bowl. At least Jay can say he's seen that. At least you can say you've seen that. Like, I've never even had a chance to watch my team go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to watch mine go to 3, but we're so obsessed with the number 12, we went 1 and 2 in Super Bowls.
Yeah. the closest that we ever came to making it in my lifetime, and it wasn't the year that we had Case Keenum either, because I knew they were going to get the shit kicked out of him by Philadelphia the next week in Philadelphia.
I mean, Favre was your best shot.
No, 1998 15-1 season, when they had Randy Moss as a rookie, and they were 15-1 that year with Randall Cunningham, and they were beating the brakes off of everybody. And then you have a kicker who was 57 in kicks the last 2 years, shanking a 32-yard freaking field goal off the upright. Like, that was Minnesota's chance to make it.
I actually love Minnesota and the Bears for just finding the wrong kicker every time.
Well, no, Gary Anderson wasn't the wrong kicker, because that guy was like perfect.
No. In the big moment that matters.
Yep. In the big moment that matters, he shanks it, and then his older brother goes and drills the game winner in overtime. Like, that sucks.
Let me ask you a question, Fire Fickle.
Yeah. So, side note, the hell is that?
Yeah, I know.
Wisconsin Badgers football coach Luke Fickell, who has basically turned a program that's been rebuilding itself for 30 years, turning it into a consistent, not a Big Ten contender, but like a consistently good Big Ten program for 30 years. This bastard has ruined it in less than 3 years and has turned them into a shithole.
Yeah, I'm going to go with when you put those things up there, you should add some context.
When you have
clue what that means.
when you have 80,
Einhorn is fickle. I don't know. Find somebody.
When you have 81,000 people at the stadium on Saturday chanting "Fire Fickle," 2 years into a 6-year deal, things aren't pretty in Wisconsin right now.
Yeah, it's just weirdly. And hear me out. There's a lot of people that watch this show that are nowhere near that.
Hey, let me ask you. Hold on, but let me go back to my original question. I've been in Wisconsin, so I know how much people love Brett Favre and how this guy's such a bestowed whatever. He's even got a damn road named after his ass. But let me ask you this: when he went to Minnesota, that was the one thing I was curious if that was going to turn them to hating him. But then number 2, when he had all of that legal stuff, which I don't even know if that's been settled yet, but all the legal stuff that went on down in Mississippi, has the people's opinion in Wisconsin of Favre, has it changed, or is he still the beloved Brett Favre?
It depends
it's
on
funny
who you
because
ask.
nationwide, as more time gets further away from it, people go back to liking him.
Like, it depends on who you ask, I guess. Like, when Favre did what he did, where he basically spent like 3 straight off seasons saying I'm going to retire, but then kind of last minute said he wasn't going to retire.
Sure.
Fans kind of not necessarily got sick of it, but when he ended up going to the Jets, they kind of were like, okay, fine, we don't have to deal with the whole I'm going to retire, I'm not going to retire game anymore. Like they traded him to the Jets, and the fans were like, oh, okay, fine, you're the Jets' problem now. So they were perfectly fine when he went to the Jets. But then the Jets traded him to Minnesota, and that's when the Packer fans lost their freaking mind. I'm like, why are you losing your mind now? Like, the Jets were the team that sent him to Minnesota. It's not like you guys traded him to Minnesota. Like, you sent him to the Jets. He played a year with the Jets, and he said he still wanted to play after that, and he signed with the Vikings. Like, you can't be mad at him for it because you got rid of him. Like,
yeah.
In the same way,
they weren't even mad until he balled out.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the point. Like, he came into Green Bay and torched them. And I think it was like when Minnesota got off to a 6-1 start that year. And all of a sudden, the next game after their bye week was when he came to Lambeau Field the first time, and they booed him senseless. And then he just goes and throws for like 350 and 4 touchdowns. And the Packer fans were like, that's great.
Yeah, I just know how much Green Bay fans or Wisconsin fans in general hate Minnesota. And when I saw him go to Minnesota, even though it wasn't necessarily his fault, I mean, this is where he got traded to, but I just wondered if the loyalty to him had faded out or anything.
It faded out for 2.5 years. Once he officially retired, everyone was acting like nothing ever came of it. And the funny thing was, Packer fans really never hated the Vikings. They always hated the Bears just because of the rivalry and the history of it.
Yep.
The Packer fans never really hated the Vikings just because the Vikings were every 5 years they would have their good year, like their 15-1 season in '98. And then they would be kind of right around 500 the next 3 or 4 years. And then they went to the NFC Championship game in 2002. And then they were kind of right around 500 for a while. And then Favre goes there and they have their next good year. Like, Minnesota was never a team that the Packer fans actually hated until Brett Favre went there. But that kind of...
When I went to a couple of bars in Sheboygan, they didn't actually have a lot of love for him.
I know, but like that kind of trickled a domino effect, though, because after Favre went to the Vikings, then you had Ryan Longwell go to the Vikings, who was the Packers' best kicker of all time until Mason Crosby got there. He signed with the Vikings. Greg Jennings, who was with the Packers for 7 or 8 years, he ended up signing with the Vikings after he left Green Bay. And now you got Aaron Jones, who spent his first 7 years in Green Bay, now signing with the Vikings. Like, it was kind of like Favre kind of opened like a door where I'm not going to say like the Vikings took the Packers trash, but it was more so like the way that Aaron Jones got pushed out of Green Bay, I think was very disrespectful towards Jones, just because he even went to Green Bay and he's like, I made $11 million for you guys last year. Like, I'm willing to take a pay cut to stay in Green Bay. And he's like, my value on the market right now is $5 million based on like his performance and his health. And the Packers are like, well, we can only give you $3 million, which that's a slap in the face to Aaron Jones. He's like, I can't take that. Minnesota signs him to a 1 year, $7 million deal. Like, you can't be mad at a guy who signed for $4 million less than what he was making with you. And he said he'd be willing to cut his salary in half, and you still didn't want him. Like, you can't get mad at players that do that, no matter if they go to your rival or not. Like, they're willing to work it out. And if you don't want to work it out with them, of course they're going to go with who's going to pay them. Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you? That would be terrible business. Like, if you're working at whatever job you're working at and your boss, and you're like, hey, I want a raise. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to do it. You're like, yeah, but our competitor will double it if you can just give me like something competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then you're mad because I go across the street to work for the competitor. It's like, yeah, no, that's on you. Like, I gave you all the opportunity in the world.
And like, they booed
Aaron
Jones so hard last year when he came back to Green Bay. And I'm like, why are you booing the guy? Like, he wanted to stay in Green Bay. It's just that your front office didn't want to really negotiate with him.
That's fans, though. Like, that. Yeah.
But it's just like since the Favre thing where Favre went to the Vikings, I think that's where the Packer fans have really started to hate the Vikings, because before that, they never really hated the Vikings. Like, they had no reason to hate them. Like, their rivalry wasn't what it is now back then until Favre got there. Now that rivalry's been turned on its head just because the Packers have won 35 of the last 39 games against the Bears. So that's not really a rivalry anymore versus the Packers and Vikings are 21-21 against each other the last 42 meetings.
Yeah.
That's a rivalry where you're consistently splitting with each other regardless where you are in the standings.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is it's not a rivalry if the other team doesn't show up.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I
mean, it's not like, a bad situation is where like the way Jerry Jones handled that Micah Parsons. Like, we can't get mad at Parsons. because Jerry messed all that up. You know, I mean, they could have very easily worked that out had he just met with the agent initially, gone through the numbers, and then hammered it. He probably would have got him even cheaper. Probably would have had him a really good deal and been
certainly
good.
on it last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, and I don't understand. You know, Jerry claims to be an economics guy and a great guy, but last time I checked, if you're spending less and do it with an agent versus spending or trading them and not having them at all, I don't know. It's not really like good business. That's not a lot of good business in there for me. You know,
at least the defense doesn't look like they miss him.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? No, but seriously, that's the thing, right? Like now at this point, we used to be bad at the run and good at the pass. Now we're good at the run, but we're shitty against the pass.
Because you got Kenny Clark in the middle, which Kenny Clark was, as much as it sucked to see the Cowboys lose Parsons if you're a Cowboys fan, Kenny Clark is a very good run-stopping defensive tackle. So at least that part of the trade did help you out on that aspect.
Yeah,
but the problem is you got rid of the only guy in your team that could get after the quarterback. And what makes defensive backs good is when you can pressure the quarterback and force the quarterback.
No, that's my whole point. Yeah.
So no pressure, of course, the defensive backs are going to look like shit.
It also doesn't help that you have a guy like Diggs not really trying.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden a key piece of your secondary is just like,
like literally, like when the Cowboys go into the draft this year or next year or whatever, their only target should be pass rush. I need as much pass rush people as I can find.
See, I don't know.
They have done.
If you're going into this offseason, you have, no buy-in from your current players.
Yeah.
I think this is where you start like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and just fire sell this thing and understand that we need to rebuild this because now we have dissension within the ranks of the players. We have inconsistency coaching. We have a quarterback that we're giving $60 million a year for no reason. Like, I mean, at this point, it seems like you'd want to start moving off of these things and just be like, hey, you know what? Let's acquire all these draft picks. Obviously, the Parsons trade helps with that a ton. And just be like, hey, let's just lean into rebuilding this team. And because, I mean, it's not like Dak is worth $60 million a year. He's not.
No.
And, Diggs isn't worth his contract if he's not going to show up every week. Pickens, I don't know if you can sign the guy because although he has talent, like he's a head case, right? So, I mean, all of a sudden you're looking at the pieces that you do have left on your roster and you're like, man, I don't love this. So,
No, and I'm right there with it. My only problem with that is I'm totally on board with fire sell, rebuild, and let's figure this out, right? The problem with it is as long as Jerry Jones is there, what do you need to do that? You need a competent GM to evaluate talent, you need good scouting, and then you need a head coach that actually can coach the team and not just be a yes man. I mean, there's so much that they need to have in place before they go out and get all these players. Because watch it, they're going to fire sell it. They're going to get like you said, they're going to get a bunch of draft picks. They're going to get a yes man bullshit coach in there. They're going to go get all these players and still be the same Dallas Cowboys team that's not going anywhere. That's the damn problem.
So, I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter, though, because when you're rebuilding, you're never going anywhere the first couple of years anyway. But the big thing is you don't necessarily – obviously, you need a coach that can coach. But, I mean, Jerry's not going to allow that to happen. At the same time, the one thing he is good at is drafting people. So he'll reload his team. Like, he's had no problem getting talent in the room. Yeah. I mean, over the last 30 years, you look at the guys that he's been able to draft to get in the room. He can't sign a free agent to save his life, but dude actually does fine in the draft room, right? Like he does fine in the draft room. So, so I mean, if he were to get an insane amount of draft picks, he could absolutely turn that into a roster that can be interesting.
Like if I'm Jerry Jones, obviously it's never going to happen because he wants full control over everything.
Exactly.
But if I'm Jerry Jones, I would hire a GM to take care of like the football operation side of things, sign the free agents, make the trade, sign the contract, etc. But if Jerry Jones still wants to be like kind of part of the organization, be a part of like what his team does, just put Jerry Jones in charge of the draft. Because like you said, Jerry Jones knows how to draft. So if you put Jerry Jones in charge of the drafting process, he can build up the team through that aspect. And then he can hire a GM to take care of the other stuff that Jerry Jones doesn't know what he's doing on. And then you have basically A smart guy in the draft, a smart guy in the free agent market coming together, your team's going to get built a lot quicker.
No, like I've said it for years. He should absolutely be part of the draft and then get on one of Bezos' rockets and go live in space for the rest of the year.
Or just go to Bora Bora and just hang out down there sipping Mai Tais with a Cowboys
Yeah,
player for 4
he
months.
can't be close enough that a camera could get on him.
I just need him to be a Robert Kraft kind of owner.
Never gonna happen.
No.
Yeah.
Never gonna happen.
Because if he was a Robert Kraft type of owner, man, we would be way further ahead of the game. We definitely would be way ahead of the game. But yeah, so that's that.
So Jay, how do you feel about your Rockets losing Fred VanVleet?
Man, yeah. So he tore the ACL in an off conditioning workout, and yeah, how do I feel about it? I feel like we lost a lot of experience. I feel like we lost some good leadership, and we lost a really effective point guard. That's what I feel about it. So they're gonna use Aaron Gordon and is it Aaron Gordon? Aaron Holiday. Apologize, Aaron Holiday. They're gonna use Aaron Holiday and Reed Shepherd as fill-ins for Reed. I don't know, man. I don't like it. I think Reed is a good 3-point shooter. I don't know how he's going to handle the point guard dudes. I guess we're going to find out. I think the Rockets take a little bit of a step back just because of not having VanVleet there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think maybe we finish 3rd or 4th and go in the playoffs at the 3rd or 4th seed. You know, I think we still have enough talent to get the 3rd or 4th spot, but that's about as far.
You should be able to make a trade at some point, though. There are going to be a lot of point guards. There are going to be a lot of point guards available for Houston to trade for. Obviously not right now, just because the season hasn't started.
Yeah.
But like you'll have options as the season goes on to make trades, especially at the point guard position.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's just that, and then you just got to look at who's available with the experience and things of that nature.
We got 3 players available.
That's going to be able to come in and actually do the job that VanVleet was doing.
Hey, we got 3 players available for you in Chicago if you want them. Just give us some draft picks and you can have them.
Yeah.
We got Kobe White. We got Ayo Dosunmu, both available, both play point.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see what the Rockets do. One thing about the Rockets, I think that's one team that does look to be competitive. They do look to do the right thing. So I'm hoping that, that maybe something will be out there available for them.
Yeah, I don't think my Sonics are making any trades. So
I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be making a playoff for quite a while, though. It's going to be a while until they get to the playoffs.
Hey, you know what? For the Mariners, they're finally going to pass since 2000. They're finally going to pass the Sonics for the most amount of playoff appearances since 2000. Now, mind you, the Sonics went away in 2005.
Was it 2005 or was it 2007?
What's that?
Was it 2005 or 2007? Because wasn't Kevin Durant on the Sonics for 1 year and he was drafted in 06?
He was drafted by the Sonics.
He was on the Sonics for 1 year.
Maybe it was 07. Even still, that's not great.
Yeah. Because that is literally the only Sonic jersey I ever owned was the Kevin Durant jersey when he got drafted.
I got you.
Because I liked Durant when he was at Texas. I'm like, oh, I'll get the Sonic jersey. And then the next year he went to Oklahoma City. Well, getting the Oklahoma City jersey now.
So let me ask you guys a question. So Cleveland.
Yeah, so it was 07. It was 07.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I just want to talk about baseball real quick.
They had a good team.
Only because this series starts tonight. You got Detroit going against Cleveland. Obviously, Detroit's 1 game up. Both of them, whoever doesn't, I would imagine whoever loses this series most likely will then be the wild card. I would assume. How do you see that playing out?
I think,
and I'm asking that because right now Houston is tied with Cleveland, and if Houston can win and find out the winning formula, I wonder how all that last wild card spot's going to work.
I think Cleveland takes 2 or 3, and things are going to be tied heading into the weekend.
Well, also keep in mind Boston hasn't been playing great either.
No.
So the second and third spot are kind of a fluid thing at the moment. How about Seattle going to get a first round bye?
There you go, Bo.
I mean, because I don't see them getting smacked by Colorado. And
no.
even if they get swept by LA, if they sweep Colorado and they get swept by LA, it's not going to matter, right? They'll still end up with a bye. So if they can do 500 moving forward because they're 2 games up on Detroit.
So Jay, regardless, the Guardians finished the season 4-2 against Houston. They have the tiebreaker. Tigers went 4-2 against Houston. They have the tiebreaker. So regardless who's ahead in the Central right now, both teams have that tiebreaker on Houston.
Oh no, I understand that we have to have a better record than one of those 2 teams because of that. But I will tell you though, it's not like Detroit's playing great, and they can wind up out of the playoffs altogether too if they don't resurrect their shit.
I think the Tigers end with the Royals though. I'm checking that right now. So even if the Tigers aren't playing great right now, I believe they have the Royals after the Nope, Tigers and Red Sox. So that's ultimately going to decide who gets one of those wild card spots over the weekend.
That will be a huge series.
So that's kind of where I think the Guardians take 2 or 3 from the Tigers to tie things up in the Central heading into that final weekend.
Okay.
And then you have the Tigers versus the Red Sox, which ultimately is going to determine who gets one of those wild card spots, you would think.
I wouldn't go that far. I've been a Mariners fan a long time.
Well, and then you have the Rangers taking on the Guardians this weekend, where 2 weeks ago that was looking like that was going to be a huge series for the playoffs, but now the Rangers have fallen off. So I think the Guardians are going to end up winning the Central. I really do. I think they tie the. I think they tie the Tigers.
Good.
I think they tie the Tigers, and I think they find a way to take 2 or 3 from the Rangers over the weekend, and I could see them winning the Central by 1 game over the Tigers.
Yeah, especially against the Rangers, because the Rangers have really fallen off over the last 6 games. So
because right now the Guardians and Tigers are 5-5 against each other. So whoever wins the series this week holds that tiebreaker. So regardless, if the Guardians go 2-1 to tie the Tigers, and then both teams go 2-1 over the weekend, Guardians win that division because they will have the 7-6 tiebreaker over Detroit. So whoever wins,
that's what's great about those particular matchups is Seattle gets the cupcake Rockies, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas the rest of the teams that are trying for a spot are playing each other.
Yeah.
Right? So they're going to be there to beat each other up.
Yeah.
And then Houston, on the other hand, they have the Angels right now. The Angels will always play them tough.
They do. They absolutely play tough.
Like that could be its own issue. Like there's you basically have 4 teams trying for 2 wild card spots.
And just for good measure, Jay, the Red Sox are also 4-2 against Houston this year too. So those 3 teams all have the tiebreaker.
What exactly is that? How is that good measure? That's not like good measure.
But no, because you were asking like who has like tiebreaker.
That sounds like a terrible measure.
That's for you. It's terrible measure. I'm just saying like Houston needs like a lot of help because the 3 teams that they're kind of fighting with have that tiebreaker over Houston. So it's ultimately like if Houston's trailing by 1 game, it's essentially they're trailing by 2 games because they need to actually get ahead of the tie.
Too bad you guys don't have Waste Management as a sponsor anymore.
You might want to give Rubbermaid a call.
That being said,
we're rocking with Oxy.
To the top of the hour. Got to get that last dig in on Jay before we get up out of here. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. Anywhere else you're watching, be sure to like where that is as well. Otherwise, we're going to get up out of here. We'll see y'all tomorrow. And more NFL talk, of course, our power rankings and, the last little bit of the MLB. Take it easy, everybody.